In IT and technology field, it has been all about doing more with less, right? I mean, show me more value for the same money that I give you year after year, right? And that is what you can see the Moore's law, right? Intel. Now, even Intel is outdated, right? So we have to do more than most, meaning we have to increase our efficiency 100%, more than 100% every 18 months. So the drive and the promise and the expectation is how can you do more with less and improve your bottom line. So the
Right.
consumers are who are driving this whole movement. They want more and more for what they are paying for.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Grow IT podcast. One of your hosts here, Trey King. And today we are very excited to have our guest, Mr. Sunil Bafna from Performix Business Services. And today we'll dive in a bit into his story as well as what it is his company does. And then, as always, some engaging insights into the technology industry. So make sure to stick around for this one. But without further ado, Sunil, welcome. Thanks for hopping on today. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be on your platform.
Sunil, if we can kick things off, if you don't mind, just to please introduce yourself and then just tell us a quick snippet or a bit about your background.
Sure, sure. I'm originally from India. I was born in India, and I came to US in 1988 as a student, undergraduate student, and I started this company in 1997 after multiple gigs at multiple organizations like Thomson Reuters, Price Waterhouse, and uh, I started this company when we were going through the generation one of data intelligence. You know how to drive or monetize data, right? Which is building data warehouse 1.0, and that's when the whole aha moment of hey, quality data, right? That's required to drive good business decisions, and that's where kind of this whole company got formed at that point with that thought in mind. So I'm myself a software engineer. I did my bachelor's here, master's here, and have a kind of a management degree from Tuck School of Business at Dartmouth. And and very passionate about technology and very passionate about saving money for our clients of all sizes, whether it's small, medium, or Fortune 500. And for public organization, government organization, we are always looking for ways to do more for people's tax money so that we can drive value there. So it's very amazing to be running your own company where you can do a lot in terms of purposeful engagement and
Mm.
helping others in their endeavors and initiatives as well. So that's kind of where I come from.
Excellent. Tell me from the from the IT sector, was it like always been a passion, getting into this type of industry like from a young age, or what was it that like initially sparked that interest to make you so passionate about what you're doing?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I'm glad that you're giving me that window of going back where the seed kind of came, right? I mean, generally people say, "Hey, what now? 10 years," right? So it's interesting how destiny finds itself, right? So I was born in India, and it's a very hot tropical country, just like South Africa, Treg, where you are
Yeah.
probably. And going to school, coming back, I always used to dread the heat. I'm like, what can I do so that I don't have to be exposed to this all the time, right? And I used to see my parents, my uncles, they all kind of they were in the industry business, and like, oh, they were doing interesting things, but that hot weather was really like, man, wish there was a way that you can sit in a cool environment and think and do something creative.
Yeah.
Aha, the computers. And when I saw computers, they were always in air-conditioned rooms. right?
mm, mm,
So that drove my curiosity around computers, and hey, this is something interesting, right? And
yeah,
it's like that is good. You can sit and you can be in a nice, controlled environment and operate, and your brain can function.
mm,
And that's where my thought process around computer science was barely starting at that time. There are a lot of engineering field in mid 80s, but computer science was, especially in India, it wasn't quite there yet. There were only few colleges which even offered computer science programs. And that's how that curiosity led me to look for colleges in US to pursue my dream. I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but sure enough, I was a physics student and I was mathematics student,
yeah.
and computer science was how I was able to, and I could see more and more my interest grew into that, because in other sciences you could not demonstrate what you have done very quickly. Here you could write some code and show your results right away. That instant gratification thing,
Mm.
that also drove my interest into this field initially.
That is a very interesting story. And who would have thought it would have started out with getting hot and being in a room or an office with an aircon, and the interest grew from there. That's quite profound. Sunil, based on your expertise, what are the current market trends, obviously in your industry that you are aware of? What way is the wind blowing? What have you been noticing lately?
Right. I mean, in IT and technology field, it's has been all about doing more with less, right? I mean, show me more value for the same money that I give you year after year, right? And that is what you can see the Moore's law, right? Intel, now even Intel is outdated, right? So the Moore's law, we are saying, hey, we have to do more than Moore's law, meaning we have to increase our efficiency 100%, more than 100% every 18 months. So the drive and the promise and the expectation is, how can you do more with less and improve your bottom line, right? So the
Right.
consumers are who are driving this whole movement, right? They want more and more for what they are paying for.
Mm.
So if you look at it, I mean, we didn't cry for inflation for a long time because
Yeah.
technology really did not go through inflation. We were getting more and paying less, right?
Yes.
Um, until our expectation have kind of blasted, like, now we don't want Unix servers, we want NVIDIA servers, right?
Yes.
So that is where, right now, if you see, the puck is kind of driven by the AI wave, so folks are definitely trying to use AI technology to drive that efficiency. And it is almost, presenting itself in an exponential way rather
Mm.
than a linear Moore's law way, right? Hey, you
Yes.
can use this, and what you used to do with 10 people, now you can do it with three, right? And eventually, right? So if you're able to reduce your cost, even if you're conservative, 15-20% year after year for next several years. So that is one way for sure. I mean, a lot of large companies are still fighting to get into digital transformation, right? While we
Yeah.
talk about all this, right? Moving from paper and pencil to having it done digitally. So digital transformation is absolutely happening right now as we speak. But AI is brewing big time in the background, because that is what is going to provide exponential path to exponential. Is that going to happen for every organization today? Probably not. But
Mm.
the path is getting laid out. And how we all, as different technology company, participate in this and drive functional businesses on that path. Some of them are going to try to do it themselves, which could be, I mean, then you are becoming a technology company yourself, which might be
Mm.
one way to do it if you're really good at running your, keeping your focus. But I feel a lot of opportunities for technology companies like us will come by teaming up with those functional organizations and making them good at what they do. So their bottom line improves drastically, dramatically, and they're able to compete in the global marketplace. So,
Thank you for that comprehensive answer. I fully agree with you, and it's interesting for me that, funny how when the new generations come, the instant gratification when it comes to technology just gets more and more and more. So and especially with AI, my take on that is that there's, obviously I do a lot of these podcasts, and a lot of owners that comes, joins the conversation. There's a lot of them that's very much optimistic, about the difference that it's making. And then there's on the flip side, there's a lot of people that's quite concerned about it. And just like you mentioned earlier, whereas now there were 10 positions for that job, now there's only 3. So uh, to summarize it, I would say cautiously optimistic, right? Whereas, but definitely from a digital transformation point of view, I fully agree with you. That is quite active, and AI at the same time. And companies that what I've heard and what I've learned, is always a struggle when it comes to a budget to say, what takes preference when it comes to transformation and AI. And from an AI point of view, is it more on front end or back end or both at the same time? So it's quite interesting. So I fully agree with you with with those aspects. The I think this might be a good time, Sunil, if you don't mind, to elaborate a bit more and explain to the audience what is it specifically what your company does.
sure, sure. So what we, as I mentioned earlier on, track that we started out with the vision of quality data back in early late 90s, when Data Warehouse One were getting created, and we teamed up with a product company, and we became more of their consulting arm to do POCs around the US and Canada, kind of the North America.
Yeah,
The whole vision there from the product company, and we engaged with them, was, hey, the warehouses are built, but there's no awareness around quality data. So just because you put everything in the warehouse doesn't mean that that will drive your reporting, that from which you will drive your business decisions are going to be
right,
good decision, because your data is questionable. How
right.
you bringing, like, if you are say if you are a company that sells fertilizers and pesticides and consulting to farmers, you get data for the same customer from 5 different channels, right? And
Right.
then you are doing marketing back to them. Which piece of data are you going to emphasize on, right? Is that coming from your pesticide? Is it the one coming from your fertilizer? Is that one coming from your consulting? So those kind of decisions, people were not thinking about. They were like, okay, you just pile up the data and just go. And I'm just giving a very simplistic example. There are even complex situation once you get into healthcare, once you get into
Yeah.
other areas of enterprise.
And
So
legislation.
that's, yeah,
Mm.
and that's how we started, which you might compare to what we call ETL now: extract, transform, and load. So
Right.
ETL tools were just getting formed, and that's how we got started. And that's all we were doing initially, until what, mid 2000, early 2000. And then we realized, once we saw the down curve came around Y2K crash, um, when the whole economy came stand still, and, just doing one thing is not enough for a small business.
Mm,
So,
mm,
and for you to keep your people, retain your good people, and have a continuous flow of work, right? The cash flow is a king for small business. And we struggled during that time, and that was a wake up call, and there's growing pains, and we
mm.
decided that we need to do more than just one thing, and we got into app dev. That's when we started into building applications, And the coherence was all of these data projects we were doing, they need to be staged somewhere for reporting. And that's what we used to call portals, reporting portals. So we
Right.
started building those. And as time went on, we kind of morphed those portals on a platform agnostic way so that they could work on, mobile devices like Palm Pilot, Windows CE at that time. But as we were doing, we were kind of seeing that mobile wave coming, just like how we saw AI wave coming, right? Hey, there has to
Yeah.
be a kind of that whole thing about mobile devices. It makes sense. The hardware was there, but the software wasn't there because
Right.
we used to spend, clients were spending arms and a leg to have a presence on a mobile device. And
Yes.
then 2007 hit, and the App Store concept from Apple changed the world, right? So that's when the whole, vision of marrying the hardware and the software was, fulfilled, right? App Store, you can write your application to that App Store and you're done. You don't have to worry about what hardware and what not, right? So
Yes.
we did lots of app development. We helped multiple clients, big clients, building apps around home automation, IoT automation, lifestyle, health and wellness, you name it, across industry, retail. Um, so we have done quite a bit of that. And then as that wave was going on, a lot of the data was moving to cloud. So we obviously had to, we worked with data, so we had to be cloud agnostic as well as cloud informed. So we did a lot of cloud migration work of
From
data.
on-prem to
Yes, hybrid, on-prem, off-prem, so those kind of initiative. What is a good fit? And all
mm,
along, one of the things we did always maintain was being vendor agnostic from our point of view. We were not married to any particular technology. Our stance was always trying to do the best thing for the client. Meaning we are not going to be just a Microsoft partner and just bring Microsoft technologies,
yes.
or just an Oracle partner doing Oracle. We
Mm,
just did not see that that could drive a technology vision, or a SAP partner and just be SAP, right? So we were always vendor agnostic and map it to what client has and what solution really makes sense. And so in some ways you can say we sit in the open source world, but doesn't
mm.
mean that we are not doing Microsoft, Oracle, and SAP solutions.
Yeah. Yeah.
More like, the client should have the best solution rather than, getting them entangled into one vendor. And that is still is the same mindset. We could have grown a lot more if we had just married to one. Let's put it that way, because it's a lot easier. They just drive your growth. But it's just like, playing the game of soccer with the team that you like to play with. So you
Yeah.
win one day, right? When you stick to it. And we are winning in our ways of learning and exciting our team and the kind of people we have who are excited about the kind of work and the purpose behind it. So today, what we are doing is a lot of mobile work, a lot of SI work. Our data work has evolved tremendously. To give you some ideas, the projects that used to cost, say, $10 million to build a warehouse, to do a reporting solution where, say a organization which could be 5 million and up to $50 billion, right? The key questions that all organizations want to ask is, hey, tell me from my data, who are my most, profitable customer. If I invest this much money, how many customers do I need to really break even or be profitable?
Yes.
What
ROI.
patterns need
Mm,
customer? All these questions is what drives the need for reporting, building a warehouse. Used to cost tens and $15 million to build warehouse solution, to build these decision support systems.
yep.
Now we're at a point where we can build these kind of things for less than $100,000 for clients because of leveraging the AI agent solution. So it's now accessible to small businesses, entrepreneurs who are
Yes.
trying to drive their growth, saying, hey, what can my data tell me about my business? And I
Mm.
feel that's where our growth opportunities are now,
I love
because a lot of those projects are still companies who are, the big fours and companies like that. That's their bread and butter, these projects. And uh, literally, those projects can be done for so much less and is accessible to businesses of all size. I see that as a huge opportunity.
Definitely. This actually ties up quite well what you mentioned right in the beginning, where you said you're in the business of, you make your clients more money by saving.
Right.
You
Exactly.
that's but I need to commend you, especially on the philosophy that you said in the beginning of, evolving with what the client wants. A lot of companies obviously tend to say that, well, these are the products and the services that we offer, and that's it. And then they need to go find a market that fits their product. Whereas, I get the feeling that you evolved your company over the years as to how technology changed first and foremost, but as well as how the client's needs changed, you evolved with those changes as well.
Right.
I think that's quite profound, definitely. The Sunil, I would like to hear your take on, if we can maybe just step back a bit from, and just business in general. In your opinion, I mean, you've got a wealth of experience. You've done this for such a long time. What type of mindset would you say is needed to be a successful founder of a company?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I know it's a loaded question, right?
Yeah, and number one, I will tell you is success is defined by that individual as well, right?
Right,
If it first they need to define what they call success, right?
right.
And success could mean different things to different people, right?
People.
Would Steve Jobs be successful to somebody, right? Hey, he worked hard, but he never saw the full strength of Apple. He had to leave this planet before that. you
Yeah.
know, is that successful? I mean, so you have to define first what is that what you see as success, right?
Mm.
Are you defining success if you are building an ecosystem where not only you thrive, but others thrive as well, right? I mean, that's one definition of success system. Another is, hey, I grow my revenue year to year, 50%. That's a success for somebody, right? So I feel that, having purposeful work and
Mm.
making a difference in a continuous way, in a continuum, right? And making lives better for others, but also not forgetting that your life should move in the right direction, right? Because if you are doing good for the marketplace, making a lot of money, but you are selling yourself at a higher cost than what you are making, then it's a bad business, right?
Yes.
Success has to be defined before you say this is success, right? I mean, that is sometimes very faulty as a business owner, which is very important, right? Once you have set the entity, then success is defined, right? So then everyone who ties with your entity defines success that way. So as a responsibility falls on a founder to say where that success belongs, right? What is that you define as success? Once you have done that, then you drive along that path, whether it's defined by revenue. And a lot of good companies define success in many attributes, right? It's community, it's revenue, it's all of that above, right? And those are definitely very holistic organization. But when you're starting young and you are just a founder, it's very hard to go into those attributes. So what do you have? What you have is core values, right?
Mm.
And you have to look at those core values and define your success using that. And when you grow bigger, those map into those attributes eventually, right? But
Yeah.
at the gestation period, when you're starting out, you can't say, hey, community, diversity, revenue. reach. You can't say those words. Those don't mean anything, because you just don't have that leverage at that time,
Yeah.
right? So you can drive it from where you are, and you say, this is how I define. So as a founder, I feel if somebody is really thinks that, hey, running your company is a very sexy thing, it's a great way to get rich, they should think twice,
Yeah.
because it is more about purpose. It's more about, driving it in a sustained way. If you want to do this for a long period, hey, what is that won't take away my interest in doing this? What will drive me every day to help
Mm.
others to be driven, right? So it clearly has to be more than just money.
Yeah.
Has to be, and the an ideal situation is money follows, right?
Mm.
In what you do is how I feel, that sustained founders are.
That is such good advice first and foremost. And Yohamasa, I enjoy your perspective, especially when you now mentioned the word purpose. There's so many people that so runs after the money that in life they never get to enjoy or find out or realize their purpose. And and that's a lot of people would argue that's one of the most difficult things to find out or to live rather. So very much profound what you said. Then just lastly from my side, what is new on the cards? What's the next steps for Performix? Do you have any near future plans for the business, or areas, or how you want to grow, or any new insights that you're willing to share?
Yeah, I mean, we are definitely, one of the things we did lack as we have been, working through for last 20 odd years, 25 years is a faith in marketing, as a bunch of techies and, a bunch of doers,
Mm.
we trusted more into doing things and had more glory and more respect for people who were technically sound, and marketing and sales was always looked at ancillary operation, right? Because like, okay, hey, okay, we can sell if we do right, it sells itself, right?
Yeah.
That is something I'm trying to correct myself, as well as that, we do the due diligence, marketing side, the outreach side of it, so that, especially being so noisy, right? The digital, it's very hard for you to be heard. So
It
you
is.
have to have that awareness of where your the people that you want to serve, where are they sitting? What is their mindset? How are their buying decisions?
Mm.
That's where we are trying to plug in,
Mm.
and hoping that if we plug in the right way, everything else should fall in place, and opportunities should follow that.
Should
And
follow that.
that's a correction we are trying to make in our
Grant.
organization. you know.
And obviously to grow and be sustainable, right? The
Yes.
your Sunil, you've provided us with such good insight today. I want to thank you for coming on. There's a lot of things you mentioned. Well, just from your business point of view, the value that you guys bring to the table, and then thank you that you're willing to share your expertise today, and really appreciate having you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Trek. Thank you for letting me speak on your platform. And I would love to collaborate with you guys however we can to do you good and do us good.
Excellent. We'd love to have you back sometime. So, no, just lastly, where can the audience, where can they get hold of you guys? From a, let's say, from a website or a LinkedIn point of view.
To contact us, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my email is sunil@performixbiz.com. Our website is performixbiz.com. So those are two good things. And I'm on LinkedIn. I'm not a big Insta presence. I'm not big on X platform, but our company is on Insta as well as X and Facebook. So,
Facebook.
but primarily I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on email. and I have a phone number I can share with if somebody wants to talk to me over the email. I can share that with them. So
Lovely. Thank you so much. I'm sure there's a lot of people that made some good notes today. Thanks for hopping on.
thank you, and look forward to keeping in touch.
Take care.
Yeah.